Welcome to the Golf Sport Podcast. I'm joined by Daniel Frankel, the Director of Junior Golf at the Met PGA, and Kyra Cox, Foundation and Events Administrator. We're going to be talking a lot about, junior golf. Kyra played junior golf at Met PGA, so this will give some good perspective on, the Met PGA Junior Golf Tour and, playing college golf, which I cover a lot. And yeah, so to start off, just how has the winter been for both of you, and just how has it been, going so far, working in golf, and tell me about some of the things that both of you do, in the winter, working for the Met PGA.
Absolutely. Well, Gavin, good morning, and thank you so much for having us. It's an honor for both myself and Kyra to be here today. I'm Daniel Frankel, the Director of Junior Golf for the Met PGA. And to your point, Gavin, it has been a long winter. We're definitely excited for spring to be around the corner. It's difficult when you live in the Northeast to be able to keep your game up in the winter. But fortunately, so many indoor facilities with simulators have been built over the last number of years. And obviously, there's some indoor-outdoor driving ranges and different ways to keep your game sharp. But even this past weekend, we did a rules presentation for the junior tour players, as well as some people in the local community at the PGA Tour Superstore on Long Island. So there are ways to really keep your hand in golf, even when it's wintertime. And I know Kyra, especially when she was playing competitively regularly, was always keeping her game sharp during the winter. So I'll let her share some of her tricks of the trade, if you will.
Okay.
Exactly. Hi, I am Kyra. I'm the Foundation and Events Administrator here at the Met PGA, working really closely with the foundation and all our different programs and pillars that we work with in the Met section. The Junior Tour, the Metropolitan Junior Tour at least, is so busy all the time. We host so many events throughout the summer, so the winter is definitely our time to kind of relax a little bit, but also there's a lot of preparation that goes into a really busy summer ahead. Like Dan said, being in the Northeast, it's cold. You can't always get out on the golf course, but there's so many different facilities you can go out and practice on that I've definitely been able to use during my time as a college golfer. I think indoor simulators have been such a cool thing that have been kind of popping up nowadays. You can go out and practice in. So yeah.
So Daniel, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Junior Tour. I was reading this is going to be the 50th anniversary of the Junior Tour. Your season begins at the end of April. So tell me a little bit about the Junior Tour. What it will be like, this year being the 50th anniversary, and just, with your season, I believe, beginning at the end of April, what are some of the things you do to get ready, and, what are some for the season, and then what are some of the things you do to, promote and get, players and juniors, around the area to register for your tournaments?
Yeah, Gavin, great question. And we are so excited that 2025 is actually the 50th anniversary of our junior tour. I myself actually grew up playing on the junior tour as well. So it feels like I've been with the Met PGA my whole life. And we're really excited that not only is it the 50th anniversary, but to have such an exciting year in the Met section with the Ryder Cup coming up at Bethpage Black in September. It's just such a special year. And to me, one of the things that's so incredible about our junior tour that differentiates us from so many others is we are everything to everybody. We're not just there for the most elite players, and we're not just there for beginning level players and everyone in between. We're there for everyone. We have a 9-hole tour for kids who are just looking to get their feet wet in competitive golf, with tournaments all throughout the summer at different amazing venues throughout the Met section. We have our intermediate tour, which we call our Players Tour, which is 18-hole tournaments. Again, we run about 50 of those throughout the summer, and it's at some of the best courses you can find in the section. And then we go all the way up to our Elite Tour, which is our Future Series, our 36-hole events, which are nationally ranked, recognized by the AJGA, and have really become an incredible vehicle for our juniors in the Met section to get recruited for college. So being able to have the junior tour be everything to everyone and not just focusing on one demographic per se, I think makes us extremely unique and extremely special in terms of junior tours.
Yeah. You mentioned the Players Tour. I was, seeing a lot of your events are labeled as the Future Series. Can you just tell me about that, and then also just tell me about some of the things you do as director of junior golf, and also you run a full junior tour all the way from April to October. You host a lot of tournaments on Long Island. You host some in Connecticut. So just tell me a little about your tour, some of the events you run, and what's it like running a full tour all the way from April through October. Hosting in Long Island, even some in Connecticut. You know just what's it like running your tour for you know all throughout the summer.
Yeah, so in all, with the three different tours that we have, we run approximately 100 tournaments, mostly between the end of June and the end of August. But as you mentioned, we do have some peripheral events in the spring and in the fall, and
Hmm.
those are our future series events.
Okay.
Those are 2-day events. They are all nationally ranked. We have the best junior golfers in the metropolitan area playing in those events, and we have a lot of interest from college coaches in the results from those tournaments. So it's
Okay.
really become something that's incredible tool for our kids locally to use in their resume to get recruited to the next step. I know Kyra is a perfect example of that, even though she was also playing in events all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you were playing in a lot of Met PGA events to help your journey along and to help get
Absolutely.
recruited to college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the junior tour, especially the future series, I think what differentiates the players tour and the future series is the players tour is a little bit more intermediate. The future series are those players that are really looking to take it to the next level and are playing in 2 days events, which kind of we try our best to kind of emulate what they'll kind of see at the college level.
Mhm.
I think playing in those 2 days events where they are nationally ranked in junior golf scoreboard, AJGA, you can get points and stars and all those kind of different aspects. So the future series definitely was a really big help in terms of getting ready for college, and that's what we like to provide for our juniors now. And I think it's been really, really popular and
Yeah.
growing a lot.
Yeah. So you got into my next question, but you were talking about college golf. Just what's it like for both of you? You work at the Met PGA, and Daniel, you're director of junior golf. What's it like when you see some of your junior players, have success, and commit to colleges? Not to signal anyone out, but Jordan Levitt, she's a big, player from New York. She's committed to Notre Dame. So just when you see your players, have success and commit to colleges, what's that like for you? And is there anything both of you do, like give advice or help out, juniors who want to play, in college?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question.
Hmm.
So we've created a roadmap for our junior tour, from cradle to grave, if you will, but in the junior golf space. So for kids who are just starting out, we have different programs. But to answer your question most directly about the college golf level, that's the goal, to have the kids who play on our junior tour to either get recruited to play on a collegiate golf team or potentially go to a PGM, a professional golf management program, or go into something else in golf. So, one of the amazing things about golf is that it doesn't end after your junior career. We want to set up kids and juniors and opportunities for them to thrive in golf after the junior tour, whether it be in college, whether it be going on to becoming PGA professionals, even if it's just to become a leisure golfer down the road. Golf is something that you can have with you for the rest of your life. So to see our kids achieve their dreams of being able to play on a collegiate golf team is what we're here for. That to me is such a tremendous success story of what the junior tour is all about. And to even take it to the next level, we've been fortunate to have junior tour alumni make it onto the biggest stages, such as Cameron Young. He might be the greatest success story of the junior tour of all time. We've
Yeah.
also have had a few young ladies make it onto the LPGA tour. Annie Park and Kelly Shawn are two names that come to mind in recent years.
Okay.
Annie Park even won on the LPGA tour not too long ago. So to see to be able to have the junior tour as their vehicle to achieve those dreams for us is why we're here and why we'll always continue to do what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So I wanted to talk about the Met Junior PGA Championship. It's one of your major junior tournaments of the summer. So can you tell me a little about this tournament?
Sure. I apologize because we're awaiting official confirmation of date and site for this year, so I can't officially say where it's going to be hosted for 2025. But it is one of our most special championships because the Section Junior PGA Championship is the only tournament that is repeated in all 41 sections of the PGA of America throughout the country. And what makes this event so unique is that each section gets two qualifiers, both male and female, who'll be able to qualify for the National Junior PGA Championship, which is the biggest junior championship in all of golf. And I'm actually sitting next to a superstar who competed in it many times and was actually in contention quite a few times as well.
Yeah, the Junior PGA Championship is awesome because it allows because, we are just in our section. So the Met section is kind of like the New York City area, Long Island, Westchester, Connecticut, a little bit of Orange County as well. So this allows our kids to be able to qualify to go to an event at a national level, which is it's amazing. It's super fun. I had the pleasure of qualifying a few times for the Junior PGA. And it was definitely some of my first looks at a national event. They go to amazing golf courses around the country to compete against other kids from around the country to represent the Met PGA. It is definitely one of our events that gets the most signups, and it's a really good experience for the kids that qualify.
Yeah. So outside of the junior tour, obviously that's the biggest part of junior golf for the Met PGA. But you also have things like the PGA Junior League, drive, chip, and putt. So other than the junior tour, can you tell me about some of the things that the Met PGA does for junior golf?
Wow, you've done your homework. I'm very impressed. So I guess let's start with drive, chip, and putt maybe, because again, that's something that I'm sitting next to someone who's been able to compete at the highest levels of it. So drive, chip, and putt, we were talking about our junior tour roadmap before, or our junior golf roadmap. That's the very beginning of that journey. So drive, chip, and putt is an initiative that was started by none other than Augusta National Golf Club, where the most prestigious tournament in golf is hosted, Augusta National, the Masters, and partnered with the PGA of America, as well as the USGA, to create something that's really been such a phenomenal opportunity for young boys and girls throughout the country to be able to compete at Augusta National in the drive, chip, and putt finals. So just to tell you a little bit more about that, one of the things I love most about drive, chip, and putt is that anyone could potentially get all the way through. And what I mean by that is it's not a 9 or 18 hole round on the golf course. It's literally just 9 shots for each qualifier. And you never know what can happen with those shots. So it's 3 drives, 3 chips, and 3 putts. And the better you do, the more points that you get. There's a local qualifier, a sub-regional, and then a regional qualifier. So if you come the top 3 in your local qualifier, you move on to the sub-regional qualifier. If you come in the top 2 in your sub-regional qualifier, you move on to the regionals. And the winner of the regional qualifier gets to compete at Augusta National at the Drive, Chip, and Putt National Finals at Augusta. Which is, we've had so many of our kids make it to that level and have that experience. And one of them is none other than Miss Cox.
Yeah, so the Drive, Chip, and Putt is a really cool initiative that PGA of America and the USGA and Augusta National have kind of created. I think it's now going on for 12 years, I think. And what's great that we do, just like other sections in the country, we host, I want to say 6 local qualifiers.
6 locals.
6 local qualifiers. So we basically set up a driving grid, chipping area, putting area, and we have those kids kind of compete at the local level. And then we host a sub-regional where those kids who have qualified from that one can move on. Just like all over the country, there's probably, I don't know how many, thousands of local qualifiers going on. So it's really cool being able to host an event that is funneling kids to Augusta National. I had the pleasure to make it to the Drive from Putt National Finals at Augusta in 2015. And
10 years ago?
Yeah, 10
How
years
is that
ago.
possible?
Right. And it is so amazing because a lot of these kids are just new starting to play golf, and now they're being put at the highest level at Augusta National the week before the Masters. It is so cool to be like, the kids are made to be felt so special. They get all the cool stuff. They get escorted through Augusta National in the practice area. They get to hit balls next to people like Fred Couples and Scotty Scheffler and putt on the same green as these guys. And it's cool because some of the best players in the world, like Tiger Woods, like Scotty Scheffler, like Adam Scott, are sitting there and watching these kids compete. So and it's televised the weekend before the Masters. So it's a cool opportunity. So to be able to host those events, it's a little nerve wracking. Obviously, there's a lot on the line. There's a lot of pressure, but it's super cool.
Yeah. So for my next question, Daniel, you mentioned you grew up playing junior golf at the Met PGA, and Kyra, you also grew up, playing junior golf at the Met PGA. I believe, if my research is correct, you were a player of the year growing up. So for both of you, given that you've played junior golf at the Met PGA, can you just tell me what it was like, getting to play junior golf for the Met PGA, in terms of the opportunity it gave you to play and compete, some of the friends you met through junior golf. Just give me a both of your perspectives on what it's like, growing up playing junior golf at the Met PGA.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a little older than my friend Kyra over here, so it's been about 20 years since I played on the junior tour. But what I can tell you is one of the best parts of my job today is meeting and seeing junior tour alumni who talk about their experience playing on the junior tour as making a tremendous difference in their life. And the lessons that they learned while playing on the junior tour are things that they take with them each and every day. And what I mean by that is, obviously, I'm very biased about this sport and how much I love it and how highly I think of it. But golf not only attracts the best people, it helps create the best people. It's the only sport where you're your own referee. And in being such, sometimes there's some tough lessons that have to be learned. Sometimes innocent or maybe not so innocent mistakes are made, and there are consequences for that. And to have the opportunity to learn from your mistakes, and to be able to call penalties on yourself or get disqualified for something that you didn't know was a rule, and to be out there with like-minded people who love the game and are high quality people that are looking to do the right thing. The junior tour is all about that. It's all about preparing you for life, because that's what the game of golf does. It's such a microcosm of the real world and doing the right thing and how to be the best version of yourself. And to me, that's what the junior tour is about. And that's why so many people, whether they stay in the golf industry or they move on to do something else and they just keep golf in their life, they look back on their time at the junior tour as something that really helped to prepare them for the real world and helped to make them the people they are today.
Yeah. So now I want to tailor my questions towards Kyra. I wanted to talk about the Met PGA Foundation. So just tell me about the Met PGA Foundation. I was reading, the foundation supports junior golfs, and it has pillars of, foundation, military, inclusion. So just tell me a little bit about, the foundation and some of the pillars of the foundation.
Yeah, so the Met PGA Foundation, like you said, our three pillars are youth, so junior golf, military, which we have our PGA Hope programs, which is an amazing program. Our PGA Hope programs is we have veterans in our area who maybe have not had access to golf, and we host clinics for them. So they have like a 6-week clinic where we teach veterans how to play golf with some PGA professionals. And then what's really cool, what our section does is we host like a outing graduation for them, and we give them golf clubs for them to continue. We also have a little league team. So all the veterans who have learned how to play golf can now be on teams in our section and compete against each other throughout the summer. So that's our military pillar. And then diversity and inclusion will include things like First Tee PSAL, which is a high school golf program, and PGA Works. So PGA Works is something that I'm very close to because that's how I started working here. And PGA Works basically is a program that's run through the PGA of America that allows people with minority backgrounds or people with backgrounds not in golf, or people to give people opportunity, especially coming right out of college, of working in the golf industry. I played my graduate year of school at Howard University, which is an HBCU, and they host the PGA Works Collegiate Championship, which is a championship that highlights HBCU players, minority golfers in a big championship. That's where I found out about PGA Works. And what better place to do it than my home at the Met PGA, which I grew up playing on. And it's a really cool opportunity of being able to get people in the game of golf who normally don't. There's a lot of people that don't understand how big golf is. I think the golf world, as you may know, is huge. You meet so many people who do so many different things, and PGA Works is a thing that we do in terms of our inclusion program that helps open people's eyes to kind of what golf could provide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So both of you, as you just mentioned, Kyra, both of you, grew up and played college golf. Daniel, you played at Rhodes College, and
That's correct.
Kyra, you played at Furman, and then you mentioned you played a fifth year at Howard. So both, just tell me, what was it like, getting to play college golf, and particularly for Kyra, what was it like, playing at Howard and playing a fifth year, tell me how that transition was for you, going from Furman to Howard.
Sure. I loved playing college golf. Like I said, like I grew up playing on the Met PGA, which was my first look into tournament golf. So growing, and then I knew that I wanted to play in college. I had a really successful junior career. I won the New York State Am at a very young age, the Connecticut State Am, won a lot of national events, AJGA invitationals. So the recruitment process was really overwhelming. But I found my home at Furman. It was an amazing program that I loved. I think being a collegiate athlete is definitely really hard. I feel like Dan could also say, like, we have a different college experience than anyone else, because not only are we doing schoolwork, but we have to practice, we have to travel, we have to compete, all that stuff. And I guess when I was done at Furman, with COVID, I feel like I had a year robbed from me, Um, I was playing really well in the start of the 2020 season. I was like, oh my gosh, this could be my year. I may come out with a winning event. And then it all of a sudden shut down. And it was really heartbreaking because I felt like I was playing so good, and to be able to, like, we just had to stop for a whole year. Like, it was kind of disappointing. So I wasn't ready to leave when I was graduating Furman. So I decided to play my fifth year at Howard, which was a totally new world to me. I think HBCU, going from Furman, which is a very highly ranked school, to Howard, which wasn't as highly ranked and was definitely new. I mean, the women's team was just 2 years old at that time. With the help of Steph Curry, who donated all that money for the programs, I wanted to kind of help put that program on the map. So it was very interesting going to a different city, having new teammates, playing, but I loved my time there. I loved my time both at Furman and Howard. It was a great learning experience. And I think being a college golfer and a college athlete has really helped me when in working in the industry now, because, I've seen the ins and outs. I've played it and now I work in it. So it helps me relate to our junior tour members a lot. You asked this question earlier about kind of how I feel about seeing them grow up on our tour, and it feels good. I feel like a lot of juniors ask me and Dan questions about the college world, and it's really good to give our advice because, we just want to see this industry grow and see the junior golf world and college golf grow. So,
yeah, Kyra, that's amazing. And one thing I want to just add to what Kyra shared is whenever someone asks me about college golf or really any college sport and if I think they should pursue it, my answer is always the same. Being a collegiate athlete and being a part of a team for your college is the only time in your life that you will ever get to be a part of something like that. Obviously, it's a little bit different if you end up becoming a professional at the pinnacle of your sport. But for most people, that's really their last opportunity to be a part of a team in that way, especially in golf. Because let's face it, golf is much more of an individual sport in general. So if you have the opportunity to be a part of a collegiate team and you can find a school that's the right fit for you. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, there's only so many spots that schools take for a golf team each year. If you're extremely lucky, golf teams are recruiting 3 people a year, and that's a very high number. It's usually 2, sometimes 1, sometimes none. So if you can find the right school for you, because obviously you want to make sure you're in a school that you love as well. It's not just about competing, but a school you love, and you're able to be a part of their golf team. To have that experience in your life is unlike anything you will ever have in any other chapter. So go for your dream.
Yeah.
I think that's great. You just answered my next question. So now I'll ask Daniel, you're director of junior golf, and Kyra, you're foundation event administrator. So tell me about some of the duties and responsibilities both of you have within your position at the Met PGA. Sorry for Daniel.
Kyra babysits me. That's her job. She makes sure I stay in line and that I'm behaving.
We obviously, Dan and I work very closely on the junior tour, so that is booking events throughout the summer, being there on site for events, so we could do everything. And we're checking in, we're making tee times, we're printing out scorecards, we're on the site at events, we're announcing kids on the tee, we're on the course, being rules officials, we're taking down scores and putting them into our system. So that's kind of our entire summer, basically. Kind of going back and forth from different events, and we're not always at the same events all the time, but we try our best because, again, like I said, we have so many events in a short span of time. So
and one of the really cool parts about our job, obviously both Kyra and I do a tremendous amount of work focused in junior golf and running junior golf events and being a part of Drive, Chip, and Putt and PGA Junior League, and our Golf in Schools program and other junior initiatives. But one of the really cool things about our office is because we're so small, everyone is able to be a little bit of a part of everything. So whether it's our professional tournaments, sponsorships, fundraising, everything that we do in the Met PGA to some extent is all hands on deck, which is really special because it could prepare you for other opportunities in the future.
Yeah, like Dan said, we also work professional events for PGA professionals, like the New York State Open, Pro-Am events, fundraising events that we have to raise money for our foundation. All of those events we are putting so much time and planning for. And yeah, it's just really rewarding that we could see so many different avenues, not just in junior golf, but with the military, PGA works, with professional golf, all of the above.
And, you were talking about the winter and how it's a little bit slower in terms of people actually playing golf. But the reality is this is the time right now. We have about another month left to get every single thing that we need to get done ready for the season, because that's how it's all prepared. It doesn't just happen by magically showing up to a golf course. It's that preparation during the winter of booking tournaments, setting up the registration, hiring staff, ordering all the supplies that we need for the tournaments, whether it's banners, starters boxes, tee gifts, you name it. I mean, we have to take care of everything from soup to nuts now, because if it's not taken care of during our off season, then it's never going to get done during the season when we're at upwards of 3 or 4 tournaments a day, making sure that they're running properly.
You kind of were just touching on my next question, but it's a good segue. So obviously, working in golf, your busy time is, April through October, when the weather is good and we can, play outside. But, you're just mentioning, but tell me about some of the things, you do during the golf off season when we can't play outside, November through March. Just, tell me about, what both of you, do from November through March.
Yeah, so I know I just touched on a few of those things, but one of the big things when the off season starts is we're very introspective to look back on the previous season to figure out what went really well, what didn't go as well as we'd like, what changes can we make to help improve all of our programs, not just on the foundation side, but section wide too, just to make sure that we're making sure that we are always giving the absolute best experience that we can to our PGA members, to our junior golfers, to our veterans. And so we take a lot of time to really make sure that we're doing all the things that we need to give everyone the most opportunities and the best opportunities possible. And once we figure out our plan of action to move forward is when we really start to work on those things. So in booking those events, hiring our staff, and taking care of all the things that we need to for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, you both work in golf. You both, grew up and, play golf. Tell me about your passion, for golf, how you ended up working at the Met PGA, and just, what's it like getting to work, in golf at the Met PGA?
Yeah.
Well, both of us to some extent, but I feel like I've been with the Met PGA my whole life. My first tournament was at Sunken Meadow Golf Course when I was 9 years old. It was the Max Fly Championships, which is now what we were talking about earlier, the Junior PGA Championship.
Okay.
And it's something I will never forget. At my first tournament was a gentleman, bless his memory, named Tommy Kuhn, who was, for lack of a better term, the mascot of the Met PGA for upwards of 30 years. He passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, but he was such a mentor and had such a lasting impact on my life. So from that moment when I was 9 years old, I continued to play competitively. I played and was fortunate enough to get recruited to play golf at Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee. And, even though I don't play competitively anymore, the lasting effects from my time competing still hold such a special place in my heart. I actually, 2 years ago, was inducted to the Rhodes College Athletic Hall of Fame. I got to be down there for a special induction ceremony with my teammates and, more importantly, my family. I got to take them to be a part of that special opportunity and that special honor, and to be able to do that never would have happened for me without the Met PGA. The Met PGA is what created that opportunity for me to get recruited to college. Then when I was in college, when I would come home for the summers, my summer job was interning for the Met PGA. And then I was very fortunate that a few months after I had graduated, one of my best friends in the world now and mentor, Kelly Clayton, who was our previous junior golf director and now is our foundation director, hired me as her assistant for the junior tour. And that was, I can't believe it, it was 15 years ago this month that she hired me. And the rest is history. I mean, the Met PGA has become such a part of my life, my family. I couldn't see my life without the Met PGA, and that's why I've been here for 15 years, because I love what I do, because I feel like I'm able to give back to others and make an impact on their lives. And golf is that vehicle. Golf is such a special, unique, beyond a sport. It's a way of life. And Kyra, for example, I was working for the Met PGA when Kyra was just a young lady. I've known her since she's 9 years old. And to be able, she's a perfect example, but I'm fortunate to have dozens, if not hundreds of other examples of people that I've been blessed to see come through our program and become such a success story. And when I say success story, it's not just about things that she's accomplished on the golf course. It's the person that she is. And I think that golf and being a part of our programs help to foster her journey and to make her the unstoppable force and special human being that she is.
Yeah, similar to kind of what Dan said, I also started on the junior tour when I was 9, and it was my first ever introduction to golf. So I didn't know anything about golf, but I come out on the golf course to come play, and that's when I met Dan, who was an intern at the time, Kelly Clayton, who was the director of junior golf, and I loved it so much. This is why it's been just kind of like a family, and I think I've really grown through the Met PGA and the lessons I've learned. I feel like still throughout my amateur career and my college career, lessons I've learned through the Met PGA kind of went with me through all of that. So I think it was really a no-brainer when I decided to work in the industry rather than try to go pro, that I wanted to work for the Met PGA because, one, I know everybody here, they're like family to me. And kind of like Dan said, I had a passion of growing the game. I think that's so huge, and that's something that we're all passionate about, is making this game a better place, a better avenue for everybody. So that really fueled my passion to coming back and working here.